Hello, this presentation is for the Heidelberg-Davis Site Land Use Designation Change Request. This is one of 3 items on our 2020 Annual Amendment docket, and this presentation was given at the September 28th, 2020 Open House. So to give a quick overview here, I'm going to briefly talk about the amendment process, description of the proposal, next steps, and then really importantly at the end, I'm going to have a slide on how to join the public hearing on October 7th and how to provide comment, and also how to get to the website, which you may have already visited, with a lot of additional information on this item and the rest of the 2020 amendment items. So the amendment process, whether it's a private amendment application, which is the one that we are talking about, this Heidelberg application, or it's a city initiated annual amendment, it undergoes essentially the same process. This one started with scoping when the application was accepted back in April of 2019. And then July, the Planning Commission formally accepted the application and directed staff to start analysis and community and stakeholder engagement. So we are here really close to the public hearing, and the Planning Commission will receive public testimony, and then they'll make their recommendation at a subsequent meeting. And then this will track to the City Council. They will also hold a public hearing, and they will make their decision. And if they do choose to adopt this item, it will then be implemented. And the council process, we are hopeful that we can get that completed by the end of December. And so we'll know more once we complete the Planning Commission process with that. So stay tuned. So a quick word on the development process in general and where we are. So we are here at the sort of highest level, the beginning phase in the planning process, working with the comprehensive plan. This is where people can really have the most input, but keep in mind that along the way, as we talk about zoning of the site, we talk about possible conditional use permits or development agreements, there will be future points for public notice and public input on the site. But this is the time really to have the biggest input and the biggest say, if you will. And when we get all the way to construction on this or any project, it's really, that is the point at which it's usually too late to have much impact on how things are going. So please, public comment here is very important as we head into these hearings. The proposal is to redesignate the site from parks and open space to major institutional campus. The applicant is Metro Parks Tacoma. The site is located on the southwest corner of South 19th and South Tyler Street. So I've got it highlighted here. It's an approximately 16-acre site, 5 ball fields, a surface parking lot that's shared with Cheney Stadium, Foss High School, which are just to the south, Metro Parks Tacoma headquarters to the west, and Snake Lake Nature Park to the east. Also the Fred Meyer Shopping Center right across 19th Street. So the reason for this application is the possibility of a professional soccer complex on the site. And there is a negotiation that is ongoing between Metro Parks, Tacoma, and the teams. However, at present, these negotiations are really on pause as Metro Parks Tacoma and the city of Tacoma consider pretty big budget concerns here this fall. But the reason that this application was made is in advance of the possibility of a professional soccer complex on the site. And this would not just be a stadium, but there may be some mixed commercial in future phases. It was mentioned in the feasibility report, which was presented to City Council and Metro Parks Tacoma in 2019, that there was a recommendation that there, down in this portion of the site, there be potentially some mid-rise residential even. So there is no formal proposal before the city at this time, and so we don't know exactly what this would look like, but conceptually we do, and that's why we've had this application. So the future land use map, it's the long range plan for land use patterns throughout the city. And this is derived from our comprehensive plan. It's our comprehensive plan map. The current designation of the site, again, it's Parks and Open Space, Snake Lake Nature Center, Metro Parks headquarters also have the Parks and Open Space designation. Now to the south, both Foss High School and Cheney Stadium have the major institutional campus designation, which is the requested designation for the site. So there is precedence in the area, and it's adjacent to that designation. So just one last word here on comprehensive plan versus zoning. So comprehensive plan is the big picture. It's the long-term future vision for the city. It's tied to the Growth Management Act. It's tied to the Puget Sound Regional Council regional plan. Zoning is about the present. It's tied to specifics of development and what can be done on the site in terms of uses and development standards. And it is derived from Tacoma Municipal Code, Title 13. So both, let me just contrast these a little bit for you. Parks and Open Space, major institutional campus, very similar. In Tacoma, we do not have either a civic or a parks and open space zoning. So it's typical that we have the R2 zoning for these sites. The typical uses are really similar, but the difference really, it's intensity of use with major institutional campus, large high schools, a professional stadium, major hospital or medical centers, that sort of thing. And you're going to see more passive or just park dedicated. We certainly could have a stadium here, but it would probably be a Metro Parks run and completely devoted to Metro Parks type of facility that didn't have a mixture of use. And just one other note, there's the next sort of big consideration if a formal proposal were to come before the city would be rezoning, or it would be conditional use permits or development agreements. And that would be the sort of next step if a formal proposal to build a facility like this came into the city. So not to spend a lot of time on this, this is the kind of key points with our public outreach. The technical analysis that's been done during this process, Metro Parks Tacoma engaged engineering firms to do a sound and lighting study. The city of Tacoma, through our public works department, engaged a traffic engineering firm to take a look at traffic impacts. So these were all done on a preliminary basis. And the big takeaway, you can find the full studies on the website. And at the last slide here, I'm going to give you information on how to get there if you haven't already. But the big takeaway is that there are mitigations available to mitigate the major impacts that this sort of a facility would have on the surrounding area with all three of these, with sound, light, and traffic. So our next step, the big next step, is the October 7th public hearing. And that's set for, the meeting will begin at 5, but the public hearing itself is set for the 5:30 time slot. And the purpose is for Planning Commission to take the public testimony. And then at the subsequent meeting, the Planning Commission will review the public testimony and consider any modifications before they send their formal recommendation on this item to City Council. So this one I'll try to leave up here for a little bit, but certainly I'm going to try to display this again tonight. The big thing is the public hearing. This is the Zoom meeting information. This will be on Zoom like this meeting. You can dial in, you can either just call and listen in, or you can attend the Zoom meeting itself. And here's the relevant info, the session ID. Public comment, we would like public comment, if we can, get that from you via email. We're going to accept it even after a few days after the meeting, through the Friday after the meeting. Please, we need public comment on this, and we would like to hear from you. So again, planning@cityoftacoma.org. My contact information, Larry Harla, I'm the senior planner assigned to this, and the best way probably to get a hold of me is via email, but here's also my direct line. And then for that information, the staff report, those technical reports, it's available at cityoftacoma.org/2020 amendment. And again, I'm going to be placing this on the screen again during the presentation tonight. Thank you.